All right, let's get the show started. Welcome once again to the Sports Beat with Richard Holdridge, presented by Georgia Alabama Sports Live. Hope that you are enjoying this fine afternoon. I've got a very special guest, and it is WTVM sports anchor Tony Reese. Tony, welcome to the show. There's a lot to talk about. I know that the school year has wrapped up in the area for the Chattahoochee Valley sports, but I know you've been working hard, but how have you been?
Man, I can't. It's an honor to be here, man. Talk about the school year. One weekend I was in Huntsville following Auburn soccer. Then I was in Macon covering, various teams. Brookstone just winning the state title. Popped over to Montgomery. I actually saw you there trying to cover Glenwood. So it's been a heck of a ride, man.
It really has, and we've had a lot of great teams in the Chattahoochee Valley win championships. Let's start with the baseball champions because, Brookstone winning their first title since 1981. We expected that Calvary and Glenwood would be the favorites, and Central making their third straight championship, but they came up a little bit short to Bob Jones. But this is what's expected in the Columbus-Phoenix City area, is talented baseball players and competing for championships, and Brookstone getting the job done. And it's just been a great baseball season for all the champions in the Chattahoochee Valley.
You said it there, Richard. The first time in 43 years talking to Coach Mathis that Brookstone was able to get it done. I know he actually talked about having somebody from that original 81 team come in to talk to the team earlier in the week. And to watch those guys for that very first inning, they got walked several times, scoring 5 innings in the first, and then going on to be basically winning 9-5. It was pretty impressive, man, just to see it in firsthand in person. I had never been to the Macon Bacon Stadium, so that was kind of cool, seeing that whole setup and everything in between. And those guys really played with resiliency and were able to finally come out on top. And it was definitely impressive to see.
And then we saw you in Montgomery at Patterson Field as the Glenwood Gators got a little bit of a turmoil. There was a best of 3 against their longtime rival Lee Scott. You were there as Lee Scott actually won it in walk-off fashion in Game 2. And they had to wait a day because of the rain, but Glenwood able to stay resilient, going back-to-back, their 24th state championship, their 10th championship under Coach Fanning. But what a way to close out the AISA, to beat your longtime rival in a winner-take-all best-of-3 game on that Friday afternoon at Patterson Field, and the Glenwood Gators are champions as well.
Richard, you couldn't have said it better. You couldn't have said it better yourself, man. We talk about Game 1, definitely the resiliency. Glenwood showed up, showed out. And then Game 2, Lee Scott kind of got their footing and went into extra innings. And it was kind of one of those games you weren't sure who it would go to. Then due to weather delays, they had a couple of days in between where it got pushed off a little bit. Then to see Glenwood come back on top. And for both of these teams to finish out in the AISA as they transition to the AHSAA next year, it's definitely going to be impressive to see how these two teams really fare going into this next season.
Oh, there's no question about that. I think that the Glenwood Gators are going to have a very smooth transition to the AHSAA, and I can't wait to see that non-region schedule. Because can you imagine them playing your alma mater, Smith Station? It could happen. They're going to be in the AHSAA. We could see them. Yeah, we could see them play Central. I mean, I know I'm wishful thinking. I'm getting excited.
Hey, 2 heavy hitters around the area, man. I wouldn't be surprised to see it.
Absolutely, and especially this is what the fans want to see in the Chattahoochee Valley. You want to play the best. Let's move over to Calvary Christian. They closed out the gaps in great fashion. They were road warriors. They won the road contest against Rock Springs Christian and Milner, and then going up to Alpharetta, Milton area, and defeating the Kings Academy and the Calvary Christian Knights, their 6th straight GAPS championship, and they are making the transition to the GIAA next season. But Coach Smith has got that team playing on a high level, and the Calvary Christian Knights once again are champions.
I've been saying it for quite some time now. What Coach Steve Smith and his team have going on over there, they definitely should be playing in a higher conference. And I'm glad to see that they now are taking the steps to move into the next one. Of course, we know the competition that sits there in the GIAA as well. And with everything going in, it's definitely impressive to see. They're going to have the Brookstones, the St. Anne Pacellis, but I definitely think they can hold their own in those battles, which they played in the non-conference games already. And we've seen that they can deliver it and get there. I definitely think it's going to be a fun season to watch next season.
And absolutely. And we did have some teams in the Chattahoochee Valley that fell a little short, but had just fantastic seasons. Coach A.J. Kehoe with the Central Red Devils, 3 straight years making it to the state championship. And you got to remember, 7A is playing at the highest level in Alabama. They go up to play Bob Jones, another top team in the nation, in Oxford, and then at Jacksonville State. They take Bob Jones to a winner-take-all Game 3, but the Central Red Devils, They got very close to the championship, and this has really been a great team all year, and just that atmosphere at Darnell Nelson Field and those fans coming out against that game against Auburn in the semifinals. I just want to congratulate Coach A.J. Kehoe and the Central Red Devils on a fantastic season as well.
I second that, Richard. We talk about Coach Kehoe and the program they had this season, being one of the top teams in the nation, and week in, week out. I believe they only lost roughly 3 games in the regular season. 2 of those actually happened to be to Auburn, who they came back and won in explosive fashion. And then to make it right back to that state championship for the 3rd year, ironically, it hates that they had to go out the same way they did the year before to the Vestavia Hills. Watching that team persevere what they did, Coach Kehoe has a great program going over there. And I definitely think this is the last we'll see these guys definitely in the state championship game, or the last we'll see them make a playoff run such as this.
And we did have another team in the Chattahoochee Valley that made it all the way to the state championship, the Flint River Academy Wildcats out of Woodbury. They fell short to Robert Toombs in Macon. You were there in Macon, and Flint River had a very exciting season, and their run came a little bit short, but what a fantastic year for Flint River as well.
Man, those Wildcats, people tend to forget about them. They're on the other side of Manchester, but my guy Joe Howard and them over there, they run a smooth program. They're actually coming off a football state championship, and for them to make it all the way back to play the same team, ironically similar to Brookstone playing FPD, they also played Robert Toombs in the football championship, and to see them play in the baseball, that shows just that school knows how to win and get to this point. Sorry, I got my cat there. But we know how those teams know how to win, and for them to come up short, how they came up, still a great run. Definitely see bright things in their future as well. Won't be counting them out anytime soon.
And I know, Tony, all the focus is on baseball in the spring, but there are other sports. I mean, we had the soccer championships. Pacelli girls taking on Brookstone. Brookstone girls ended up winning the soccer championship. The Pacelli boys came up short against Stratford Academy. Columbus winning a soccer championship for the first time in school history. And we also have softball. I know they play softball in the fall in the GHSA, but the Gaps, Calvary Christian, ends up winning their 3rd straight softball championship. And then you have softball over in the AHSAA. And there's so much sports to include golf and everything that's going, track and field. I mean, you're busy out there covering all these sports. And what is the most unique thing about your job? I mean, we all expect the baseball coverage, but what are some of the other sports that you've covered that has been really intriguing and had a lot of fan support?
This season alone, man, definitely seeing I'm able to tap in more into the soccer community towards their playoff runs as well. I actually got to co-cover Calvary as they tried to win a state title there. They came up just short, but then also traveling all the way to Huntsville just to follow Auburn High. Both the boys and girls were competing for who are actually coached by the same guy. That was kind of impressive to see firsthand. One, the community travel with them as well as just going up there and seeing that environment. Soccer is one of those sports that learning yourself is like, okay, this is kind of cool. Then you start looking at the golf and all these different guys going on. There's so many different tournaments here, there, and everywhere. We try to be everywhere at once, but you know how that goes. We cover so many different schools across the area, myself and my partner, Jonathan Hoppy. And we have our team as well that we're able to send out here and there. But, man, there's so much sports. I was just thinking, honestly, fall and spring are almost neck and neck when it comes to competition, just because you know what happens in the fall. Football is dominant there. Basketball comes in towards the back end. But now baseball, soccer, softball, the whole nine, when you have teams that win championships, man, it's impressive to see just the community that really wraps around them and just how much passion they have as well. And then the biggest thing, man, watching all these kids go on and sign and play at the next level, it's always an impressive thing to see. And those are one of my joyous points. I always tell people, man, I like telling their stories. I like telling them stories about the kids that you want to get to watch now. I know Well, I'm looking forward to that EA college football about to drop 25, and you see that one clip of Michael Williams sacking Jalen Milroe. And I know coming up, having a couple conversations with him in the near future, definitely going to be asking him about that as he looks to possibly go into the draft next year or whatever he decides to do. Georgia football is definitely going to be entertaining to watch this season. We have some local guys on that team that are definitely going to be showing up and showing out.
Oh, there is no question about that. And now that the school year is officially over, we get ready for the fall. We got reclassification. High school football is 3 months away. I know you and Jonathan and your entire WTVM staff is prepping for sports overtime, just getting ready for this upcoming high school football season. How exciting is it that all the teams in Columbus, minus Northside, are in the same region with Sumter County? They all got dropped down to 2A. Get ready. It's going to be incredible to see Carver and Spencer, region rivals once again. We get those matchups again, like Spencer and Hardaway and Jordan and Shaw and Jordan and Carver. It's going to be incredible. I can't wait. But when you're covering high school football, because we do have several new head coaches. I mean, Columbus has got a new coach. Kendrick's got a new coach. And, of course, Coach Figgins down at Chatco.
Yeah, man.
I know that football really kicks off when we have our Muskogee County Media Day, but what's really on the agenda for you and Jonathan when it comes to covering football, getting prepped for this upcoming football season?
Man, there's so many ideas we're bouncing off now, just really trying to figure out when and where to really execute. Right now, we're kind of getting to a lot of the feature pieces, so we're definitely looking to do some exposés on a lot of different teams around the area. Nothing just quite yet I can really say on, but, we have a lot of ideas we're planning to put together. And, the summer's long. Before you know it, we'll be headed off the SEC Media Day in July. And then before that, we get into sports overtime and then the promos and everything in between. Definitely looking forward to this season. We lost a good bit of talent this last year as they graduated. Now we're playing at the college level. But there's still a lot of teams that are young, bringing back young cores. Definitely looking forward to. And a lot of these first head programs, we now have our state line showdown situated. We have Shaw playing at my alma mater in Smith Station. So that's something to look forward to. We have a lot going on there. It's definitely going to be a fun time, and I'm looking forward to seeing how many other matchups and game of the weeks we have come up, man. And before you know it, it'll be August, so ready for it.
Tony, I do want to touch upon that state line showdown. I thought it was fascinating. Last year, you featured Glenwood and Brookstone, and it's the only game that's televised on WTVM. This is a huge success. I personally, as a football fan, love you featuring this, and I know that Jonathan does play-by-play. How do you guys do it? Do you do the game with Jonathan, and he does play-by-play, do color, and you kind of go back and forth?
We started up just this last year, so there's a lot more kinks and things we're working through as well. We also still have our full sports overtime show as well, so we try to make sure we're still hitting all of our other games as well, giving them just as much love. Just because this one is on our, it's televised on WTVM, we still like to share the love around. Who knows? We're on my alma mater this year, so I might have a little bit more action to do this year, but we'll wait and see. But, definitely we'll still be doing the same gimmick we do week in and week out, making sure that we're covering all the local kids, all the local teams, as many teams as we can reach. Some nights that could be 11, some nights that could be 18, just depends on how far we're able to stretch and move things around.
Well, I can't wait. It's 3 months away, but you're going to have a busy summer. I mean, you talked about SEC Media Days in July. Going to be in Dallas. I think that's exciting. Welcoming Texas and Oklahoma into the conference. And then we also have the Little League tournaments, 7-on-7 tournaments. It's going to be a lot of fun. I know that people think that summer is just downtime where you just take vacations, but we're prepping. We're getting ready on Georgia Alabama Sports Live. We're trying to find out what games we want to live stream. And I'm just continuing just to do my research, study up on all these high schools. Mm-hmm. And the guests that I have on this show is going to prepare for that. And I can't wait until Media Days. I'll try to make it to that Muskogee County Media Days and the one up in Opelika that's hosted by Van Riggs. There's just so many opportunities just to get introduced back to football. And it was just a great success last season. And I'm really looking forward to this season. There's one team I do want to talk about in high school football, the defending 7A champions Central Red Devils. Andrew Alford, he's on Rivals.com as a 3-star pocket passer quarterback. That's somebody to watch out for. I think he could have a monster season. He could put up the same numbers he put up last year. I think with the Dalen Upshaw coming back, I know he's going to lose Cam Coleman. We're going to see him play at Auburn. I think Cam Coleman's going to have a fascinating year as well. But the Central Red Devils, the team to beat. By the way, the Backyard Brawl is going to be at Smith Station this year, so get ready. I know that place is going to be jam-packed.
It's not what it used to be, but I'm hoping it's a better matchup this year. You know, in the years past, Central just come in and doing their thing. But I definitely think Smith Station, what Coach Brian Garrison have going on over there, I think that program
no question
will come up, and I think there's a lot of good positivity there. But we also know Coach Pat Nix looking to defend that title this year. Definitely him and his team coming in. You just mentioned that they have a lot of returning guys. They lose some stars there, but they have a lot of returning guys. I'm definitely looking to see if Valen Upshaw kind of fills some of that void that Cam Coleman left. And, you know, they have some other guys in the works. And they also have Cam's little brother, BJ Coleman, behind Andrew Alford somewhere in their mix. So I think that's going to be kind of cool just to see where they go from there. But Andrew Alford, seeing him as a guy, man, dude can sling it. I mean, the guy is one of the top quarterbacks in the area. He's definitely ranked in the state like that. We've seen Trent Seaboard matchup he had against that, just to watching how that interaction goes, man. I think they have a lot of positivity to possibly make another deep run. But, you know, only time will tell, but I'm definitely looking forward to covering.
And the one team that stands above everybody else when it comes to football in the Columbus side is the Carver Tigers. They made it all the way to the semifinals last year, lost to Savannah Christian. They got to host that game at Otis Spencer. And what Coach Pierre Coffey has got, he's got a team with a mixture of players that went on to graduate, but you got players coming in the mix, and it seems like it's a factory of putting players in the NFL. I mean, Isaiah Crowell, who's having a football camp later in the month of June, and the matches I'm really looking forward to. Not only am I looking forward to Carver playing all the teams in Columbus, because they're going to play Kendrick, they're going to play Jordan, they're going to play Shaw. They also get to play Northside, and this is what everybody wanted to see. This is a non-region game where they get to play Northside. Caden Clay's coming back. You got Kingston Rivers, which is the son of Jonathan Bam Rivers. You got Jay Jackson. And also, Carver gets to play Harris County. I'm really looking forward to these matchups. I'm penciling in these games because when we have our meetings with Thrift, me, Chris, and Toygar, when we have all our meetings, we know that Carver is on our radar. We know that Carver moves the needle when it comes to Georgia Alabama Sports Live. I'm excited. I'm also excited about the other high schools in the area as well. And I cannot wait.
Man, got to give y'all credit what y'all have going on over there at Georgia Alabama Sports Live. Man, is impressive. Definitely respect what y'all have going. You just mentioned it, 3 of the top programs in the city or in the area at that. Harris County, having Tommy Watson over there in his program, what they have going on is impressive. You can't forget my man Andrew Oropesa. You just mentioned it, the north side, the guy that knows how to win. They have a lot of winning factor over there.
Yes.
And Pierre Coffey, ideally, is the standard over here at Carver. You know, that's the Columbus school that everybody looks to every year. You know they're going to make a pretty deep run. But it's not to discredit any of our other teams around. Now, there's some hidden gems there. I think Hardaway definitely might have a more impressive year this year. You know, now year 2, year 3 under the program, seeing how everything goes there. I think there's a lot of positivity, hopefully, that we'll be able to see this year. I think Jordan and Kendrick are getting to that mark. As they mentioned, you know, wins aren't always everything over there, but they definitely want to build these men into better men and build stronger characters. So maybe one day that'll start clicking soon, and they'll actually be able to utilize that a little bit better, hopefully in the win column. But I definitely think there's a lot of promising things that we will be able to see out of Muskogee County School District this year.
Tony, I do want to talk about Jordan because I love what Coach Cadell Jenkins is preaching to his team. It's not about the wins and losses. Jordan is getting better every year. We live stream a game on Georgia Alabama Sports Live. They put up 20 points against Columbus. They were in that game. Davin James is a dual threat quarterback. He was a junior last year. He should be back this year. I think Jordan is going to be competitive. There's going to be some games where they're going to be in the game. And, you know, I know they haven't won a game since 2020, but I think that the Jordan Red Jackets are on the track, and I believe these players are buying into what Coach Jenkins is teaching them.
I definitely agree, man. I think those guys are due. You talk about showing up and showing out. And many times people count them out way ahead of the season, but you see that these kids still turn up every year, and they might not fit an entire roster compared to Carver or Spencer. But these guys are putting their heart into it every day. They're going out there doing the work. So eventually it's only right that wins start to come. Now, how many they'll have next season is up in the air, but I do believe they will definitely start getting a few under the belt.
Well, Tony, I always appreciate you coming on the show. Just continue grinding and doing what you do. I love seeing your content. You and Jonathan really just keeping that WTVM sports team locked down and continue giving the coverage in and around the Chattahoochee Valley. Before I get you out of here, tell all my viewers and listeners where they can find you on social media and how they can watch you on WTVM for the sports wrap-up at night?
Yes, sir. First and foremost, you can follow me on Twitter at Tony Reese TV, over at Facebook, Tony Reese WTVM. Be sure to follow my sports director, Jonathan Hoppy, at Jahop23 over at Twitter, as well as Jonathan Hoppy WTVM on Facebook. You can definitely follow our Facebook page, WTVM News Leader 9. We post a lot of sports content there. Over on Twitter, WTVM Sports Leader 9. We have a lot going on over there as well. Be sure to tune in. I'm roughly there every Friday through Monday. You can catch me filling in. Jonathan's out of town for the time being, so you'll see a lot of me in the coming days, next week as well. Be sure to catch us at 6, 10, and 11, and always online at WTVM.com.
All right. That's WTVM sports anchor Tony Reese. Thank you so much once again for being on the show, and we will definitely love to get you back on.
Yes, sir. We'll do.
All right. That's it. We're going to go ahead and take a break. We got more Sports Beat with Richard Holdridge coming up next here, presented by Georgia Alabama Sports Live. We'll be right back.